Hi there, everyone. My name is Jackie Whitus, and I am an occupational therapy student with the American Stroke Foundation. And today I have a very simple recipe for you that we're going to be making in a crock pot, and that is going to be blueberry French toast. So let's get started. To start off first, we are going to be washing our hands. And then while we are doing that, I want you to also be doing a hand stretching exercise since we're working on our hands anyway. And to do this exercise, you're going to be taking your unaffected hand. I'm going to be using my left hand and stretching out your affected hand's fingers. Just using your hand, just like that. So you can do that a few times while you're washing your hands, either before or after. And then you can also stretch out your thumb as well. And for that, again, you're going to take your unaffected hand and take your thumb of your affected hand and just stretch it out. Go nice and slow. Do it however many times you need to. Don't push yourself too hard. If it feels painful, stop. But just do that however many times you need to, and then you should be set. So I'm gonna wash my hands and then we'll get started with the actual making of our French toast. So to start off, you're going to be needing these ingredients. You're going to need some milk. I'm using coconut milk, but you can feel free to use whatever milk you like. Some bread. I am using butter top wheat, but you can also use whole wheat if you want to be a little healthier. Vanilla extract. Sugar, 3 eggs, a cup of fresh or frozen fruit. I'm using blueberries today. Some salt, and that is going to be everything that you need. Very simple, very easy. A lot of ingredients you might already have. Make sure when you're making this recipe, you use 2 hands when you're moving the crock pot, as it's a very heavy appliance that you might have. And when you're carrying it as well, you can have it closer to your body so you have a little more control over it. So our first step is going to be mixing together our ingredients. To start off, I'm going to be having 2 cups of milk into my mixing bowl. When you're pouring the milk, you can have your measuring cup on the counter. That way it's one less thing for you to hold, and you can use 2 hands if you need to pour your milk. Feel free to go slow. If you need someone to help you, you can ask someone. It's 1 cup. And 2 cups. Now we're going to be adding our 3 eggs. I'm going to crack these on the side of the bowl here. That's 1. 2. And 3. Don't let any eggshell get in there. The next ingredient we're going to be adding is 1/4 cup of sugar. I've got my sugar here. Ooh. Make a mess like I'm doing. I'm going to take my 1/4 cup, scoop it in. Using my other hand to hold the sugar steady. I'm gonna have to get a little bit more to get that 1/4 cup. So that is our sugar. Next, we're going to be adding a teaspoon of vanilla. So I've got my teaspoon right here, and my vanilla. So I'm going to pour this right over the bowl. That way, if I spill any, it's okay. There we go. Perfect. Put the lid on. That way you don't knock it over and spill. Our next ingredient we're going to be adding is a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm just going to eyeball it. So I have my little Pac-Man salt shaker. I'm going to add some salt. And our last ingredient we're going to be adding is a teaspoon of cinnamon. And again, you can use your teaspoon. Open it up. For this, again, I might kind of eyeball it and just do it over the bowl. There we go. And that is our cinnamon. So now we're going to take these 6 ingredients and we're going to whisk them together. I'm going to use a fork, but you can also use a hand mixer if you need to, or a mixing bowl, or ask someone else to help you. And when you're mixing, if you're doing it yourself, I want you to be holding onto the bowl. That way it doesn't go flying anywhere when you're doing that. And when you're mixing in this bowl, if you want to, you can put the bowl into a bigger saucepan. That way the bowl doesn't move as much and there's less risk of you spilling or knocking things over if that's a concern that you have. Mix this up real good, holding onto the bowl, breaking up the egg yolks. So our next step is going to be putting our bread into the crock pot. To do this, you can either use a knife to cut it up into little cubes, or you can use scissors. I'm going to use scissors. They're very easy. They make cutting things up or chopping things up very easy. I'm going to take 5 pieces of bread to start, and I'm going to be cutting them up just right over the crock pot to save some dishes, save some time. Hold on to the bread with one hand and chop with the other. You can have big pieces or small pieces, whatever you like. This is something that you could very easily do while you are sitting at a table if you're making this with someone else. So if they're mixing up the ingredients that we mixed earlier, you could be sitting at the table and cutting up the bread. That's 4, and we're going to do one more slice of bread. After we've got our bread in the crock pot, we're going to be taking our blueberries or our fruit and getting a half cup of them and spreading it over the bread. For this, I think I'm just going to kind of eyeball it and make sure that my bread is covered with the blueberries. I think cooking is an art form that if you're getting really good at it, you don't really need to measure as much, but if you're still perfecting your skill, feel free to measure as much as you need to. That's about probably a half cup of blueberries. And I'm going to take my measuring cup that I already have and scoop out of the bowl my milk mixture and just dump half of this over my blueberry and bread mix. Now I'm going to do 3 more pieces of bread that I can cover up the blueberries and the bread I already have on. Again, cutting it right over the crock pot. One last piece of bread, make sure everything's covered. And that's our bread. We'll do some more blueberries as well. Again, you can eyeball this. If you want more or less blueberries, feel free to go for it. And then we'll take the rest of our mixture that we have, pour it over. And now we have our final product of what is going to be going first into our fridge to sit overnight or for at least 4 hours, and then we'll put it back into our crock pot. Now we can cook it on low for 3 to 4 hours. So I'm going to go put this in my fridge and let it sit overnight. And then tomorrow I'm going to throw it in the crock pot and let it cook for 3 to 4 hours on low. I'll see you then. Okay, so it is the next day. I am here. It is about 11:30 right now. We put the crock pot on at 7:30 on low. So it's been cooking for about 4 hours. So we are going to test out our French toast and see how it turned out. When you take the lid off, make sure you're taking it off nice and slowly. Don't touch it. It's going to be very hot. Set that to the side somewhere you won't burn yourself. I'm going to take my big spoon and I'm just going to stick it straight into our mixture. And if it comes out clean, just like that, that means it is good to go and it is all cooked up. So I'm going to scoop out some for myself. It's a nice little brunch snack. This looks super good. It smells super good. Blueberries turned out nice, as did the bread. Okay. So that's about what it looks like. Smells good, super hot. So I think I'm going to have a little bit of this for brunch. And when I'm done with it, I'm going to stick the rest in a Tupperware for myself and stick that in the fridge, or you can freeze it if you like and keep it for a little bit longer. But now we've got breakfast for a few days. I hope you enjoy this recipe. Thank you so much for checking it out.